3D printers and the Second Amendment, a future where everyone can print a tank. Let's see how 3D printing could shake up the Second Amendment. We know that 3D printing metal is now possible. Cost to do so will only decline. So we're looking at a future where printing a gun could mean something far more literal than printing a picture of one. The major concern here is regulation. With 3D printing, we might just be gearing up for a Wild West 2.0, a time where everyone can become their own personal arms dealer. Talk about DIY gone wild. The technology isn't quite at the point of printing functional tanks. Or is it? This brave new future offers boundless possibilities, but it also comes with a giant question mark about safety and regulation. The claim that gun control debate sometimes echoes with the undertones of restricting access to minorities. History has shown us times when gun control laws disproportionately affected communities of color. Some argue that these patterns continue today, subtly nested within the rhetoric of safety and protection that dominates the gun control conversation. It's a heavy topic, one that requires us to tread carefully, acknowledging the nuances without inflating tensions further. The aim should always be to foster a society where everyone feels safe and is respected, where the rights to bear arms doesn't come with a color code. As we navigate this complex landscape, it's imperative that we prioritize equity, justice, and the collective safety of all communities. As technology leaps bounds, we find ourselves in uncharted waters where the rules of yesterday hardly apply. The rapid evolution of 3D printing technology necessitates equally rapid developments in legislation. Perhaps it's time we start imagining a world where technology and policy walk hand in hand, instead of ceaseless games of catch-up. High time we start focusing on nurturing responsible innovation, one that considers the societal implications from the get-go. Now, let's voyage over to picturesque Switzerland, a country often cited by Second Amendment advocates for its high rate of gun ownership. But it seems they forgot to mention a little thing called mandatory military service and a strict regulation that comes with gun ownership there. It's not the wild, wild west that some may envision. And here's the cherry on top. Very few people praising Switzerland's gun policies often turn a blind eye to the social policies. Yes, the land famed for its chocolates and cheeses also has a taste of, wait for it, socialism. That's right, in Switzerland they have a strong social safety net, high taxes, and, brace yourselves, universal health care. It's almost like they care for their citizens both in terms of freedom and well-being. So if we are to borrow a page from the Swiss, let's not just rip out the gun chapter and ignore the rest. It's a package deal, people. Grand play of the Second Amendment arguments, it seems that we have stumbled upon a scene of selective storytelling, creating a panopticon where we, the people, become a self-surveilling entity, playing into the hands of the fear instead of focusing on cohesive social structures. There's a perception that the Second Amendment is the guardian of freedom, a safeguard against tyranny. But when we peel back the layers, what we see is a self-created panopticon. The populace is armed, not just against a perceived tyrannical government, but against each other, creating a society trapped in a cycle of fear and violence. The Swiss indeed have a high gun ownership rate. Every gun owner undergoes proper training and regulation, recertification, a practice aimed at promoting responsible gun ownership. Moreover, in Switzerland, gun ownership is seen as more of a collective responsibility rather than a right. It's more about serving the community than protecting oneself from it. The societal fabric there intertwines deeply with gun ownership and the focus on community wellness over individual defense. Key distinction in the dialogue surrounding Second Amendment advocacy. Swiss society is structured around the robust societal safety net, including comprehensive healthcare and education, reducing the need for self-defense weaponry. A vital point of discussion is the gun control ecosystem, where society's design inherently reduces gun-related apprehensions, steering us towards a dialogue that surpasses just legislation but peers into the underpinnings of societal constructs. We turn our attention to the Spirit Level book, where Pickett and Wilkinson illustrate that societies with more equal distribution of income have better health, fewer societal problems, and lesser crime. The book offers a compelling argument for economic equality, showcasing that it isn't just the poor who benefits, but society as a whole. In societies with smaller income gaps, people are more trusting and there's less violence, including lower homicide rates, a point which ties back intricately with the ongoing gun control debate. Authors posit that lesser inequality can foster social trust and community life, which can potentially create a ground where gun ownership could be seen from a different vantage point. However, it also presents a challenge to the Second Amendment advocates. If societal wellness is enhanced, would the rallying cry for unrestricted gun rights hold as much water? Drawing from this, one could argue for a more nuanced approach to Second Amendment advocacy, integrating societal wellness as a pivotal point in gun control discussions. Shifting gears, we explore the fascinating concept of a resource-based economy, RBE, which revolves around the equitable distribution of resources, sans the barriers of the market dynamics. RBE paints a picture of society that thrives on collaboration rather than competition, and where safety net of community is shared responsibility. In this construct, one could imagine a space where the necessity for individual armed defense diminishes, ushering in a society rooted in trust and cooperation. While it might seem like a far reach, it opens up a space for dialogue about the core reasons behind gun ownership and the fears that fuel it. However, venturing into the RBE is not without its hurdles, as it demands a significant shift from established economic and societal paradigms. We leave you with a thought. Could the RBE be a canvas to redraw the lines of societal structures, even influencing perceptions and attitudes towards gun ownership? As we weave the insights garnered from the Swiss approach, the spirit levels revelations, and the possibilities within the RBE, a rich tapestry of potential avenues for discussion appears. What if we could foster communities where gun ownership is aligned more with societal well-being than individual protection? It beckons a deeper delve into not just policies but the very foundations of our society, prodding us to question and perhaps redefine our approaches to gun control and ownership. We are venturing into a realm where we can ask, is this a place where Second Amendment advocacy and the well-being of society can meet? Not at a crossroads, but in parallel paths towards a harmonious community. As we stand in this junction, it's not about finding middle ground, but potentially unveiling pathways that lead us to a society where guns isn't seen as a shield, but as a relic of a bygone era. The journey is long, the questions many, but with a thoughtful discourse and a willingness to delve deep, perhaps we can forge a future where society's well-being trumps fear and apprehension, one insightful conversation at a time.